the Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, an arson investigation is underway in Dennisville after a church was intentionally set ablaze. We'll have the story coming up.
Plus, Bangor's only day recovery program, the Together Place, is closing at the end of the month.
And the American Red Cross is calling on donors. We'll have that story as well.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll have those stories and more coming up. We'll meet our pet of the week.
Yes.
But first, to check with that forecast. We've had a little bit of unsettled weather over the last couple of days.
Sure
all depends
have.
on where you live. Today, though, it looks like smooth sailing. We're going to see
That's
some
good
sunshine,
news.
Warm but not oppressive temperatures.
It sounds like a perfect day.
That'd be great.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. All right, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday along the coast. We're watching for some active surf that will be occurring as a cold front tracks off towards the east. Meanwhile, this morning a lot calmer after some thunderstorms moved through yesterday, and some of those did turn severe yesterday as well. Thankfully, a lot calmer today as high pressure moves in. Meanwhile, you can see all the activity farther down toward the south with those showers and thunderstorms, but again, high pressure will be taking control for us. Futurecast looking nice and boring as we move forward. Some passing clouds today and overall looking rather quiet tonight and looking very nice as we start things off for your Friday. So overall for today, calling it partly cloudy and breezy with highs in the mid 70s and that west wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today, few passing clouds at times with temperatures warming into the 70s for the afternoon. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Looks fantastic. Thank you, Devin. Well, an Eddington man who authorities say has been involved in multiple police standoffs has now been convicted in federal court of posting threatening messages online, including threatening to kill former Vice President Kamala Harris. Thaddeus Wind was found guilty on July 21st of 3 counts of transmitting interstate threatening communications and 1 count of threatening Vice President Harris. The verdict comes after a 2-day jury trial in U.S. District Court in Bangor. According to the Department of Justice, Wynn made posts on X, formerly known as Twitter, threatening to kill Jewish people, Vice President Harris, Maine law enforcement officers, and Elon Musk. When the FBI identified him as the author of the posts, they searched his home and found multiple swords. The investigation found that Wynn, quote, held strong animosity toward the individuals and groups he threatened. Each court count carries a maximum of 5 years in prison, a fine of up to $250,000, and 3 years of supervised release. He'll be sentenced at a later date.
Meanwhile, an arson investigation is underway in a small Washington County town after authorities say a church was intentionally set on fire. Our Doug Banks with that story.
An arson investigation is underway in the town of Dennisville after the Dennisville Edmonds Congregational Church was intentionally set on fire just before 8 a.m. Monday. An incident unimaginable to Roberta Seeley, who's attended the Washington County Church for over 40 years.
It's the only church in town. We just can't imagine this happening.
Authorities say the fire originated near the rear of the King Street Church. And the responding department's quick actions limited the damage to primarily the exterior of the building.
We were very lucky. Passerby saw the smoke and called 911, and our fire department came right away, and they called multiple agencies in case the whole church went up. They were very good and very quick at getting it out.
Authorities also reported no injuries, and no one was in the church at the time of the fire.
I think we can still use the church and the parish hall. So hopefully everybody will come together and help us get it back to normal.
Then on Tuesday, the Maine State Fire Marshal's Office determined the fire at the Dennisville Church was intentionally set. The arson investigation remains ongoing, and authorities have released no further details as of Wednesday.
We just can't imagine this happening in this town because things like this don't happen around here. So let's hope they find out what happened to it.
Sealy says there will be an emergency meeting here at the church this coming Saturday to assess the situation and to discuss next steps. Those with information about the fire are asked to contact the State Fire Marshal's office by calling the number on your screen. In Dennisville, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news this morning, at least one person was injured when a house fire broke out Wednesday afternoon in Bridgeton. It happened along Beaver Pond on Devon Terrace around 3:30. A neighbor says she heard a loud explosion that shook her home, and then when she went outside, she saw the house was on fire. She says her neighbor's legs were also on fire, and her dad helped douse her with water to put it out. The extent of her injuries are not known at this hour, and there are also reports that others may have also received burns. Fire crews from neighboring towns were called in to help fight the fire, and the fire marshal's office is trying to figure out how it all started.
Meanwhile, a man from Lewiston continues to be held without bail following an alleged stabbing in the town of China. 36-year-old Jacob Hebert was arrested on Tuesday afternoon following a search. Police say he stabbed a 47-year-old man from Oakland early on Tuesday morning before fleeing in a vehicle. The victim has since been treated and discharged from a hospital. Authorities say Hebert was arrested later in the day and is now charged with elevated aggravated assault.
The Waterville City Council has approved an ordinance that prohibits all city employees from working with ICE. The ban affects all city workers, including police officers, and was passed on Tuesday night in a 6-1 vote. The ordinance was originally introduced in May but was tabled and then amended in June to exclude Waterville police from that ban. However, following the deadly ICE shooting of Johann Sebastian Guerrero last week in Lewiston, Waterville residents debated the ordinance and its amendment. At a city council meeting, some residents argued police cooperation should be fully cut off, while others believe cooperation is necessary to reduce violence.
I trust the people that work for the city. I do not trust ICE. They are not part of our community. They aren't vetting their officers, and they mask themselves. ICE give a man with a history of domestic violence a gun, and then that person murdered our neighbor, Johann Sebastian Guerrero in Biddeford.
The best way to move forward with immigration enforcement is for all law enforcement, state, local, and federal, to cooperate together to make sure that the job is done safely and that things like what happened in Biddeford don't happen.
The City Council voted 5-2 against the amended ordinance and voted instead to pass the original ban, which included police.
Well, Bangor's only day recovery program announced that it will be closing at the end of the month. Our Alex Schley tells us what officials say the closure could mean for Bangor's unhoused community and the city's ongoing efforts to address homelessness.
On the afternoon of July 31st at 4 o'clock, the Together Place will close its doors.
We're going to continue our workforce programs like Employment Connections, the Overdose Response Team.
The facility has served as Bangor's only daytime recovery and resource center, providing a safe place for dozens of people each day.
We have, about 30 to 50 people who come through our doors every day.
The closure comes after months of discussion by city leaders about the need for a dedicated day space for people experiencing homelessness.
Memo in your packet titled City Park Operations and Day Space.
This would be a more inclusive day space.
What we're talking about here is day space.
Advocates say losing the Together Place will do more than leaving people without a place to go. They say it will also remove a critical support system for people working to overcome addiction.
And if the club closes down, right, where are these people gonna go that need help?
Tell me.
I have no idea. They'll be right on the street and there won't be no help. Bangor's a big addiction neighborhood. No matter where they go, if you're trying to recover, you're gonna see this stuff going on, same old people, right? You'll be right back into it and you'll be destroying your life.
Since the city's warming shelters closed in April, the Together Place has been covering the cost to keep its doors open for people in need. However, as operating costs continue to outpace funding, officials say they have no choice but to shut down.
There was an RFP that was put out by the city for a day space. We have applied for that they could kick it over to the Homeless Advisory Council. So we know that could take some time.
City officials, program coordinators, and those who use the resource all agree a day space is needed. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A bipartisan bill co-sponsored by Senator Susan Collins that's focused on maternal health advanced out of committee yesterday. It's called the Rural Obstetrics Readiness Act. Senator Collins' office says the bill would help rural hospitals be better prepared to handle obstetrics emergencies by creating training programs to help non-specialists respond to emergencies like labor and delivery. It also calls for developing a pilot program for teleconsultation services. Such a program would allow a doctor at a rural facility facing an obstetrics emergency to quickly consult with maternal health care experts. This bill was introduced by Senator Collins and other lawmakers and now moves to the Senate floor for consideration by the full body.
With property owners scheduled to receive their initial property tax bill in the next couple of weeks, Bangor city officials are emphasizing that a number of tax relief or tax abatement opportunities are available. Various programs are offered by the state and the city. For instance, the state property tax deferral program covers annual property tax bills of Mainers 65 and older, or those who are permanently disabled and cannot afford to pay them. The state also offers a property tax fairness credit program. That program provides eligible taxpayers a portion of the property tax or rent paid during the tax year listed on the Maine individual income tax return, whether they owe Maine income tax or not.
It's particularly important for taxpayers who might not otherwise have an obligation to file a tax return. Say if you don't have reportable income, if you're retired or for whatever reason, you should still file if you own property and pay property taxes so that you can get that refund.
The City of Bangor also offers a real estate tax club program. That program gives taxpayers the option to make monthly payments as opposed to 2 lump sum payments. There are also other programs that offer a partial exemption from property taxes, and Maine law allows municipalities to offer a hardship abatement for those struggling to pay their property taxes.
Property tax credits are a policy statement about the types of programs that we think it's important to support. But we don't achieve our policy objectives of supporting folks who are struggling if people don't know about and apply for the programs.
To learn more or find out if you qualify for these programs, you can visit the City of Bangor's website.
There is help available.
Absolutely. The time now is 8:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a geologist is urging Amazon to do more excavation before building in Gorham. We'll have the details ahead.
But first, another check of that forecast. A nice day ahead today. It will be partly cloudy and breezy with highs near 76 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight, lows dropping down to the low 50s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high temperatures near 83. We'll be right back.
We both grew up camping. She said, let's get a camper out of the blue.
It was a large investment, so we went down to our local credit union.
Just because of their service. When you walk in somewhere and the people are friendly, they say hi to you as soon as you walk in the door, you feel like you're home.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in pet orthotics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
I went through a bad divorce. My ex handled all the finances and ruined my credit. A coworker said, try your local credit union. It changed my life. The credit union cared about my story, not just what was on paper. They gave me the confidence I needed.
Speed. Alex Pillow is obsessed with speed. And when your average Sunday goes 250 miles per hour, it can be hard downshifting to the speed of Shelley. So you'll forgive Alex if the next time he decides to get milk, he doesn't get it here. He gets it here. You want to catch Alex below? Welcome to the fastest racing on Earth.
The American Red Cross is drawing attention to a worsening blood shortage with some inventories nearing crisis levels. The Red Cross says the nation's blood supply dropped 25% in June, which often happens in summer when school-based blood drives stop for summer break, and now they're looking for additional donors to attend blood drives. They say there's a specific need for donors with type O negative blood, but all types are welcome. The trauma medical director at Maine Med says you never know who you could help by donating.
One of the things I think is really true about Maine is that we're a community-based state. And while you may never meet the person that your blood transfusion or blood donation saves, it could actually turn out to be, a family member or somebody or neighbor that does receive that life-saving blood products. And so I think that that's one of the ways that from a community standpoint, we can really help each other.
The Red Cross says that if just 3 additional donors came to each blood drive, the nation's blood supply could stabilize over the next month.
A Gorham geologist is urging Amazon to do some more digging before building a large delivery station in town. The company wants to build near the site of a landslide that occurred about 40 years ago. Sam DeCoste has more.
In 1983, a 7-acre landslide happened on the north bank of Stroudwater River in Gorham. Nobody was hurt, but a house and several cars were destroyed. It's believed the weight of the structure combined with vibrations or changes in water pressure may have been contributing factors. The landslide happened here. Amazon wants to build here, about 2 miles away. That may seem distant, but former USM geology professor Erwin Novak says there's still the matter of what's called the Presumpscot Formation. It's a mud deposit which can be found at lower elevations throughout southern Maine. Novak says it is known to be a significant contributing factor to landslides.
Most of the risk arises from vibration, like if you are doing foundation work, loading, bringing fill.
Novak says the clay is sensitive and could deform when disturbed or left unsupported. A report by the Maine Geological Survey says if the Presumpscot Formation is disturbed by shaking or other movement, it can liquefy, flow, and collapse.
I wish I had a crystal ball to say absolutely it's going to happen, but there is ample historical evidence for issues building on the Presumpscot Formation from a whole bunch of perspectives.
As for Amazon's plans, the company wants to build a 146,000 square foot delivery station off Main Street. It would come with a parking lot of nearly 1,000 spaces. The facility would operate 24/7 with as many as 3,000 trips in and out every day. If these plans go through, Novak urges the town and Amazon to take every step possible to ensure everyone's safety.
In other news this morning, Pineland Farms has been a fixture of Maine's dairy industry for decades. Now the beloved dairy producer has been sold, but it's not leaving the area. The New Jersey-based producer Tropical Cheeses has purchased Pineland Farms Dairy Company. The announcement came yesterday on the City of Bangor's website. It says there are no immediate changes to existing customer, supplier, or operating relationships, and that the new owner expects to retain the existing team and even grow its Bangor workforce over time. Tropical Cheeses intends to continue current operations and invest over time to expand cheese production at the site. The Pineland Farms facility will become Tropical's second core cheese manufacturing location.
They make some really good cheese there too, so it's a good thing they're going to keep things going. Try their cheddar sometime.
Okay.
It's really good.
Noted.
Yeah.
The time now is 8:19. After the break, we'll take a look at the aftermath of this week's hard-hitting storms. More on that coming up.
Plus, a food truck business is celebrating a big milestone by opening their first restaurant. Those stories and more straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
Bob's Discount is about to go even further. The Massachusetts sales tax holiday is officially the weekend of August 8th and 9th, and it's already gimmicks galore out there. My competitors are saying they'll give you the tax savings now. I say, what savings? The tax has to be paid. It's the law. So it's just another one of their so-called sales. With Bob's Discount, you get untouchable values every day, with no phony sales and no phony gimmicks ever.
Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
A few weeks ago, I went down to the basement to see what was happening with the boilers and opened the door, and there was about 12 to 14 inches of water in our basement. I knew who to call right away, and that was Bouchard. They were here within a half hour. They work well with our insurance company. They're very, very efficient, and all I have to do is call them any time of day. They're going to take care of me. Our business is our life, and that's why I don't hesitate to recommend them to other people.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
Congratulations! You have built the perfect line! I'm Deborah Norville, and this is The Perfect Line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. Oh, this is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
A food truck that's become a staple in Penobscot County has expanded its business and achieved a long-term goal.
Our Sam Miller has the scoop.
The owners of No Bones Grill drove their food truck for 3 years searching for business. They came to a stop on Main Street in Old Town, where they reached their goal of opening their own restaurant.
We felt it was a good time to open a restaurant and give the customers a little more options year-round instead of just during the food truck season.
No Bones Grill held a grand opening for their new brick-and-mortar location on Monday and seek to add to their customer base by maintaining their consistent standards. Through 3 years of catering events in Penobscot County, the business gained popularity, and owners Daniel and Christine Terrell decided it was time for an expansion. Daniel says they knew what kind of vision they had for their restaurant, and Old Town was the perfect location.
It's a wonderful opportunity to showcase the community and everyone around, the college coming back, to show them what we have and offer up our fresh food.
Their menu features classic items from their food truck, as well as some new additions, ranging from cold sandwiches and mac and cheese to signature choices such as their boneless wings and smash burgers. Jackson Terrell works in the restaurant with his mom and dad. He says feedback from the community has been positive and is optimistic about what the future holds.
The reception here has been really great so far. There's been people that have come back multiple times, and I'm already memorizing faces, and some people look really happy to come in here and eat.
The restaurant is open Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and the food truck will be open throughout the rest of the summer, Friday through Sunday. In Old Town, Sam Miller, ABC 7, and Fox 22 News.
Just checking, they opened up on Main Street in Old Town.
Nice.
So head on up there and get yourself a smash burger.
That sounds really yummy. Congratulations to them. Yeah. Well, now let's get a full look at our weather forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Calls to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. A small craft advisory is posted, and that will last until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday. Along the coast, watching for some active surf north that will be occurring until about that time frame, which is later on tonight. As we check out the wave heights, okay, a little bit active out there at around 4 feet according to the buoys, but notice the contours farther off towards the north and east, a little more active. You head farther out towards sea where the cold front is tracking off towards the east. We have 9 feet here, 10 feet here, and even 11 feet right about in here. So you can see definitely a little more active farther out towards sea this morning. Water temperature is a little stirred up. We have upper 50s right about in here. We have upper 40s here, upper 60s right there, and even lower 60s farther down toward the south. So definitely temperatures all over the place this morning. Meanwhile, radar and satellite, a lot of the active weather has moved away. We had some strong to even severe thunderstorms that passed through yesterday, but thankfully for now things have calmed down as high pressure is moving in. It's definitely going to be a calm one today, and even the next few days with high pressure in full control. Other areas seeing some active weather as showers and even some thunderstorms are pushing through. We have Bertha along the coast that is tracking off towards the west at this time, but futurecast for us rather boring out there. Just a few passing clouds for us today. Some clouds overnight, some areas of dense fog too, but as we head towards tomorrow to start things off, a mostly sunny sky will be expected, and even as we head towards Friday night, still looking rather peaceful, maybe some fog to watch out for, and that's about it. So overall for today, partly cloudy and breezy with highs in the mid-70s, and that west wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Overnight, low 50s, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog out there, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, low 80s with that southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast. Saturday, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s. And then we have mid-80s again for your Sunday under a partly cloudy sky. And then Monday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms with highs also in the mid-80s.
Ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
Kirk Fisher is a motorcycle attorney with first responder experience. He protects fellow riders and those in danger, fighting fires and fighting for your rights. Experienced, determined, and dedicated. Iron Horse Motorcycle Lawyers. Look for motorcycles, or Kurt Fisher will be looking for you.
Imagine stepping onto your brand new deck, enjoying all the benefits of your expanded outdoor living space. Hammond Lumber Company can help turn that vision into reality. Visit any of Hammond's expansive showrooms and explore a world of possibilities. The timeless beauty of wood, the resilience of composite or affordable durable PVC. Railing options from traditional wood to sleek aluminum and contemporary cable railing. On-site consultation and delivery are available. Get started on your new deck when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
John Brown first opened his own appliance store in Ellsworth in 1976. With his gift of storytelling, a strong work ethic, and a philosophy of putting others first, John and his wife and children saw the business prosper and grow. Today's third and fourth generation of family and their entire team continue to follow the example set by their grandparents and parents. Brown Appliance and Mattress, High Street, Ellsworth, a family tradition of quality, value, and customer service that always puts you first.
On the 12th day of back-and-forth attacks, both Iran and President Trump have made new threats to target civilian infrastructure. All this as we see the human toll of the war. ABC's Karen Watt is in Washington with more.
Overnight, fresh strikes against Iran. The U.S. military hitting Iranian targets for 12 nights in a row now, as the human toll of this war is on stark display. President Trump saluting the bodies of 4 American soldiers, all under age 30, as they returned home. Their flag-draped coffins arriving at Dover Air Force Base.
This was in particular something very sad. I attended the dignified transfer ceremony for 4 great U.S. service members killed in the conflict with Iran.
But overseas, tensions are still rising, with no signs of a diplomatic solution. Now, President Trump is threatening to destroy an Iranian bridge or power plant every time Iran attacks a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. In response, Iran warns it will target regional gas, electric, and other infrastructure and prevent the export of even a single drop of oil. Under international law, deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure is a potential war crime.
They're getting hit so hard, and they want to make a deal. But I say they're not ready to make a deal. Because every time they make a deal, they want to change it and everything.
Instead, the war is expanding in the Middle East, disturbing a second trade route. The Iran-backed Houthi militia in Yemen claimed responsibility for attacking 2 Saudi Arabian oil tankers in the Red Sea. The escalation between the U.S. and Iran, and now the disruption of the Red Sea, is again pushing oil prices higher. The average for a gallon of regular gas is now $4.06. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
Well, now to that nasty summer weather, the aftermath of this week's storms, all while Bertha makes its way along the Gulf Coast. A state of emergency is in effect in West Virginia after torrential rain and flash flooding there. Dozens of rescues already made, while some people remain unaccounted for. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
This morning, crews in West Virginia racing to reach flood-ravaged communities after severe storms slammed the state. Up to 7 inches of rain falling in some areas, triggering widespread flooding. The governor deploying the National Guard to rescue people trapped in high water. Volunteers also stepping in, setting out by kayak to help.
Myself and a few others are just kind of going around making sure everyone's okay. Some people are stranded in parking lots. Some people need water.
New video showing the extent of the destruction. In Buckhannon, one man grabbing his son moments before his shed and ATV were swept away. This view from above showing neighborhoods inundated with water. Tennessee also hit hard. In Nashville, swift water teams rescuing multiple people from vehicles. The same system spawning at least 23 tornadoes across 6 states, from New Jersey to Kentucky, where one couple rode out the storm holding hands as they sat in their recliners, their home destroyed.
Hang on, we're going to die together. And we just kept saying, hang on, and don't let me go, don't let me go.
Meanwhile, along the Gulf Coast, Tropical Storm Bertha making landfall in St. Bernard Parish, Louisiana, bringing heavy rain and gusty winds. Coastal flooding impacting areas from Pensacola, Florida to Jackson County, Mississippi. High surf and dangerous rip currents forcing many beaches to close. Lifeguards urging people to stay out of the water.
It's pretty dangerous out there right now.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll hear from the Bangor Humane Society and meet our pet of the week.
We'll also learn about haggle slag.
Haggle slag,
yeah,
yes.
That's coming up next. You'll want to know about that.
Chevy drivers across America will do a lot in the next 5 years. But one thing they won't do is pay interest on their new Chevy. Right now, get 0% financing for 5 years on all 2026 Silverado 1500 models. With no payments for 90 days. Because you've earned this summer. Now it's time to go get it.
Visit your main Chevy dealers.
What is Spectrum Internet? It's the most reliable internet.
It's connecting with my followers out there and in here.
It's secure internet for you and your family.
It's keeping kids like us safe online.
It's Wi-Fi that stays on even when the power doesn't.
Staying connected no matter what.
So what's Spectrum Internet? It's everything you want it to be. Switch today at spectrum.com.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Thursday, July 23rd, 2026, And this is also National Sprinkle Day.
This day celebrates those tiny, colorful flecks that bring joy to ice cream and cakes worldwide. The idea of the modern sprinkle dates back to 1913 when a Dutch confectioner created something called a hagelslag as a topping for bread and butter. It eventually made its way to the New World, where it received a rainbow-colored facelift for the American public and is now known as Jimmy's or Sprinkles.
We've been learning a lot about this topic today
really
for some
have.
reason.
Yes.
Why
yes.
they call them Jimmy's and all that. But what I learned in the last half hour is they still make hagelslag.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And there's a difference. Jimmy's, they're made out of like
sugar
and
water.
wax and bugs and things like that.
Bugs.
Well, maybe not bugs, but the hagelslag actually is made with real cocoa and chocolate. And,
it actually looks pretty good.
And they look delicious.
Yeah, the name is a little odd.
Yeah.
It might be a little off-putting, but the product seems pretty decent.
Do a little search on your Amazon thing and you'll see all kinds of hagelslag.
You can still order it.
I'm going to try to get some of that.
You should.
Put it on my ice cream cone. All right, time for some history. It was on this date back in 1715. The first lighthouse in America was given the green light to be built at Little Brewster Island off Massachusetts. In 1903, the Ford Motor Company sold its first car. It was a Model A that carried a price tag of just $850. Probably a lot more money at the time, but
probably
$850 for a new car sounds pretty good to me.
It does.
1962, Jackie Robinson became the first black player to be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And in 1967 on this date, the first of 5 days of deadly rioting erupted in Detroit after an early morning police raid ended with a confrontation with residents. Police had raided an after-hours club in an African-American neighborhood, and the friction touched off a violent riot that spread to other parts of the city, resulting in the deaths of 43 people. A number of businesses were also burned to the ground.
Wow. In 1988, the band Guns N' Roses made their breakthrough with their hit single, Sweet Child of Mine. In 2003, the Massachusetts Attorney General released a report saying that clergy members in the Boston Archdiocese had sexually abused at least 789 children over a period of 6 decades. An investigation showed children were intentionally placed at risk by rotating known abuser priests at Catholic facilities. The diocese agreed to pay $85 million as part of a settlement. And lastly, in 2021, the Cleveland Indians announced that they were going to change their name to the Cleveland Guardians out of respect for Native Americans. And it also retired its Chief Wahoo mascot as well.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actor Daniel Radcliffe, who played Harry Potter. He is 37 today. Singer Alison Krauss is 55, and actor Woody Harrelson is 65 years old today. He always looks like he has something funny on his mind, right?
Yeah,
he just has
kind
that
of.
Look, so.
Kind of.
Happy birthday to you, too, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive in Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. All righty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday along the coast. We're watching for some active surf that will be occurring as a cold front tracks off towards the east. Meanwhile, this morning a lot calmer after some thunderstorms moved through yesterday, and some of those did turn severe yesterday as well. Thankfully, a lot calmer today as high pressure moves in. Meanwhile, you can see all the activity farther down toward the south with those showers and thunderstorms, but again, high pressure will be taking control for us. Futurecast looking nice and boring as we move forward. Some passing clouds today, and overall looking rather quiet tonight and looking very nice as we start things off for your Friday. So overall for today, calling it partly cloudy and breezy with highs in the mid 70s and that west wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today, few passing clouds at times with temperatures warming into the 70s for the afternoon. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
I'm going to go get some hagelslag. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Don't go away.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
You're driving down the road and out of nowhere, boom! You're hurt in a car accident. Now you've got expensive medical bills, lost earnings, and you've got to deal with that insurance company. The problems just keep piling up. When you call the twos, I'll handle all of those problems. All you have to do is get better while I work to get you paid. Hurt in a car accident? I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. All things basementy. Our stable lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
You had me a trash panda. That was gangster.
It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it.
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
We're ready for baseball, and off we
go. Major League Baseball, all season long on Fox.
Months, the college basketball season will get underway once again, and the Maine men's basketball team is already getting their early work in. Our Max Sturm has a story.
It may only be July, but it's never too early to get a head start on the upcoming season.
I kind of missed it over the summer. Some people think that, it's good to have a break, and it is, but, I was ready to get back here and get to work.
We're excited to kind of try to build and lay a foundation here this summer that hopefully will set us up when the season starts.
For the Maine men's basketball team, there's a lot of work to get in between now and opening day in just 3 months.
So there's been a main focus, a main emphasis on being strong on defense, being a better communicator, and just bringing energy.
We always want to be really stout on the defensive side of the basketball. We actually in the summertime spend the majority of our time on offense. We will start to build some of our base principles defensively, but like right now, we're just working a lot on offense. We're early in it right now. As we said, we got a long ways to go, but yeah, I think that's off to a pretty good start.
The Black Bears have a new look this season. Many of the players on this year's roster are putting on the blue and black for the first time.
We got 8 new guys, so more than half your team. You're trying to learn more about and get to know them and how they tick, how they work. And then try to blend them in with our returning guys.
Returners like Ace Flagg and Killian Gribben are making sure they do their part to integrate them into the Black Bear culture the best they can.
Just trying to treat them like family. That's something we're big on here. All our teammates, we're all brothers. So just try and get close, build that bond early so you can get that chemistry going.
My first year here, we had a great year, great leadership with Callentines, like Jaden Clayton. And I'm trying to incorporate what they've been kind of doing those 2 years, or the year that I was there, to basically add those skills and qualities.
Adding talented new faces to this group of hardworking veterans is what makes this Black Bears team excited for what's coming up this season.
I think everyone wants to compete. That's one of the big takeaways I've seen already.
We got a group that's really hardworking, really tough, a group that wants to be good both individually and collectively.
In Orono, Max Sturm, ABC 7 and Fox 22 Sports.
Thank you for that, Max. Don't forget, Ace will be on Family Feud Thursday night at 8 p.m. on ABC. Final round action from the Maine Women's Amateur Championship at Valhalla on Wednesday. Maria Ouimet beginning the day with a 6-shot lead. 2023 champ Aaron Holmes also in the hunt with a nice birdie there on 9.
Maria had some trouble finding her ball on 9 and needed this long putt just to save par. Par 5, 12th. Look at this nice chip from Maria. She would tap it in for the birdie and really pull away from the pack. That's such a smooth swing, little wrist action there, and she tucks it in nicely at the cup. Then in another fantastic save here on 13 for par, she would birdie 14. Meanwhile, two-time defending champ Jade Haylock making a run here, finishing with a beautiful birdie putt on 18. But this was Marie Omit's tournament as she taps in on 18, winning her first ever Maine Women's Amateur Championship. And then we got Jade Haylock and Ruth Colucci finishing tied for second, 8 shots back from Maria. It was a precision-like wire-to-wire win. Abby Flanagan from Springbrook finishes in 4th, Aaron Holmes in 5th, and Stella Foy in 6th. Congratulations to all the golfers that competed. We head down to Boston where the Red Sox played 2 with a lot on the line. Win Game 1, you tie the franchise record for longest winning streak. Win Game 2, you break a record that stood for 80 years. But you can't get to Game 2 without the first win, and the Sox understood that early. Bases juiced for Durbin in the first, and he drops one into shallow center to score 2. Still in the first, just a few batters later now, it's going to be Duran. He ropes one into right field, which scores Contreras and Durbin, and Duran is going to leg it out all the way to third for his 3rd triple of the season. 4-0 Sox. 5-2 Sox now in the 4th. Cedane Rafaela at the plate, and he launches a solo shot over the monster to give the Sox an insurance run. To the 9th we go. It's going to be our Oldest Chapman looking to seal win number 15 in a row. He forces the grounder, and the Red Sox all-time streak, they tie it. They look to break it. In this game now, in Game 2, the nightcap it was. We go in the first inning, and they are having trouble. It does not start off hot. Top of the first, Rivera's wild pitch scores 1. Then a Beaver single scores 2 more, and just like that, the Red Sox have their backs against the wall early. But they've been known to come back on this winning streak. It doesn't stop there, though. Rodriguez is going to blast one off the wall still in the first to score another run, and all of a sudden, the Orioles jump on them early. It's 4-0. Feels like we haven't seen this from the Sox pitching staff in a month. In the 4th, Sox trying to rally. Durbin is going to drive in Contreras, who's trying to get his squad fired up, but the Sox would fall just short of 16 in a row. It was still an incredible run nonetheless, but that run comes to an end on Wednesday night at the hands of the Baltimore Orioles. The good news is they're back in the mix, right? That's all you could ask for in this middle of the part of the season. The way it looked about a month ago against the Rockies, you're right where you want to be. You're lucky to be where you want to be right now. Don't forget that. As disappointing of a result as it was, that's still a 15-game win streak. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers central and eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and Daughters turn scrap into cash.
Mow, dig, haul, trench. The reliable Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor is highly capable. A smooth hydrostatic transmission makes for easy operation and versatile attachments that help you handle the job. The Kubota BX Series, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Talk to your Kubota dealer to schedule a demo.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
Since 1956, Bangor Federal Credit Union has been a part of many milestone moments.
Whether it's been opening that first savings account, helping Mainers buy their first car, getting families into the home of their dreams, or helping set the stage for retirement, Bangor Federal's been there every step of the way. Serving families, friends, and neighbors since 1956, Bangor Federal Credit Union. You belong here.
Boy, that took care of him right now.
It
huh?
did.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for our Pet of the Week segment with Catherine Ravenscraft from Bangor Humane Society. Good to see you.
Good morning.
How
You
you
guys
doing?
too.
Yeah.
I know
Yes.
it's been chaos here for the last 10 minutes.
It's been great, though.
It's so fun.
Kind of chaos.
Anytime she brings a dog here, people from other parts of the station come down. They do it for cats too, but they want to meet them.
Sometimes, but
Yes.
for dogs,
But especially
like,
dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today we've got two. So, who do you have with us today?
So this is Molly, this one that you can see here. And down here we've got Charlie. He's still working on a treat. And they are a bonded pair, so they must go home together.
All right.
Okay.
So if you are looking for one dog, two is better.
Right.
Two is always better.
What's another one? you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Well, I know you said you don't know their backstory completely, but there are some details.
Yeah, so I do know that they have a history, which leads me to believe they were surrendered for whatever reason. So they are good, they have a good history with cats, and they have a good history of living with children.
Okay.
So they're great family dogs. I mean, look at them. They're just
they're
a couple
great.
of
Yeah.
cuties. This guy is 8, and she is 5. And yeah, I don't think they've spent a lot of time on a leash, so they'll need to develop some leash skills. But other than that, they sit nicely for a treat. They ride well in the car. Yeah, they're just the best dogs. And they're really funny. They're kind of the perfect example of how viewing a dog in a kennel is not always showing them in their best light.
Totally.
Because when you come through the shelter, they will bark at you and jump at the door, and then as soon as you open the kennel door, they're just love bugs.
Yeah, so sweet.
Yeah.
They
exactly.
definitely like to explore too.
Yeah.
They made their rounds in the studio.
Well, so Charlie is a puggle, which is a pug beagle, and she is a beagle mix. I'm guessing she's got some kind of shepherd dog.
Yep.
So they're both driven by smells. It's that hound. It's the hound dog of the beagle in there. So yeah, you don't want to let them off leash because they will be.
They'll be gone.
Yes. They will go on an adventure for sure.
They're little characters. You could tell.
Oh my gosh.
They have distinct personalities and they love each other and love people.
Yeah, they seem to get along really well.
There should be a book, a children's book called Charlie and Molly, featuring these two cartoon characters. Yeah, they do. Good. They're really good friends. Now, they did briefly go home from the shelter, and apparently they were given some high-value treats. It caused a little bit of a scuffle. You know, if you're not familiar with the way that dogs play and with the way dogs handle conflict, resolve conflict with each other, it can be kind of scary when dogs go after each other.
Yeah.
But it was a minor hiccup. They came back to the shelter. We separated them for a couple of days just to make sure that they were okay.
And then they were fine.
Then they were fine.
Nice.
Exactly. So
Good.
I would say if you do adopt them, bring them home. Make sure you separate them if you're giving out marrow bones or anything like that.
Yep.
So yeah. But no,
You
they're
wanna come up?
best guy. Look at that.
He's like, yes, I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I do.
And that's how he wants to ride in the car too.
Really? Right on your lap.
Yep, exactly.
You got anything else going on real quick? You've got plenty of other dogs and kitties.
We do. We've got quite a few dogs that have been with us for a while, so please come and visit. And then, of course, we've got our golf tournament coming up in about 3 weeks now, and we still need golfers. So $80 gets you 18 holes, a golf cart, a free barbecue lunch, chance for prizes.
Nice.
It'll be a good time.
And you're helping animals.
Exactly.
So, you know.
That's the drive, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, Catherine, thank you for coming
Yes,
in.
thank
It's
you.
nice
Nice
to meet
seeing
you
you.
guys too.
You guys too.
You did very well. You're very good dogs. Look how well-mannered they are.
They are.
Such
All right, we're going to send things back to Devin now for a final look at that forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. A small craft advisory is posted, and that will last until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday along the coast, watching for some active surf that will be occurring until about that time frame, which is later on tonight. As we check out the wave heights, okay, a little bit active out there at around 4 feet according to the buoys, but notice the contours farther off towards the north and east, a little more active. You head farther out towards sea where the cold front is tracking off towards the east. We have 9 feet here, 10 feet here, and even 11 feet right about in here. So you can see definitely a little more active farther out towards sea this morning. Water temperature is a little stirred up. We have upper 50s right about in here. We have upper 40s here, upper 60s right there, and even lower 60s farther down toward the south. So definitely temperatures all over the place this morning. Meanwhile, radar and satellite, a lot of the active weather has moved away. We had some strong to even severe thunderstorms that passed through yesterday, but thankfully for now things have calmed down as high pressure is moving in. It's definitely going to be a calm one today, and even the next few days with high pressure in full control. Other areas seeing some active weather as showers and even some thunderstorms are pushing through. We have Bertha along the coast that is tracking off towards the west at this time. But futurecast for us, rather boring out there. Just a few passing clouds for us today. Some clouds overnight, some areas of dense fog too. But as we head towards tomorrow to start things off, a mostly sunny sky will be expected. And even as we head towards Friday night, still looking rather peaceful. Maybe some fog to watch out for. And that's about it. So overall for today, partly cloudy and breezy with highs in the mid 70s and that west wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Overnight, low 50s, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog out there, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, low 80s with that southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast. Saturday, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s, and then we have mid-80s again for your Sunday under a partly cloudy sky, and then Monday a chance for showers and thunderstorms with highs also in the mid-80s.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
Keep your boat safe, functional, and beautiful with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company. Your Hammond sales rep can help you choose the perfect lift for your boat. Shoremaster's exclusive Whisper winch offers the industry's smoothest and quietest operation. Add speed and convenience with a Shoremaster lift motor. And Shoremaster's modular Infinity design makes it easy to upgrade with accessories when you're ready. Take your boating experience to the next level with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company.
Susan Collins broke her promise to protect Roe v. Wade. When Donald Trump called, she cast the deciding vote for his Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. And she voted to put more than 100 Trump judges on the bench. States are banning abortion without exceptions, and women are dying. But Susan Collins says,
I do not regret that vote.
Tell Susan Collins to stop breaking her word. Stop voting for Trump's anti-choice judges.
The Herman Fire Department is taking a humorous approach to reminding folks about unpermitted or outdoor burns. When conditions are especially dry or windy, burn permits are frequently not issued by local authorities in an attempt to thwart accidental fires, including wildfires. But unfortunately, sometimes folks forge ahead with burn plans that are not properly authorized. Then they run into some problems. The Herman Fire Department wants you to know that they'll be watching you. Just a friendly reminder to check with your local fire department before you burn anything outside.
Nice humorous approach there as well.
Yeah.
You are covered in dog hair.
I'm covered. I need a good spraying down or something.
Yeah, I think I probably am too, but you just can't see it.
They were so cute though.
They were really
It's worth it.
Totally. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning. But as always, we thank you for joining us.
Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, she stepped back from acting to focus on her music career, which is a roundabout way of saying she's in her bad choices era. It's Lauren Ash. And joining Lauren, her childhood friends, Betsy and Lisa.